In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the image morphology operations in OpenCV. First, I'm going to show you this image, and imagine that your task is to count the number of red balls and blue pens that you see here. For a human, that's really easy. You will say 3 red balls and 3 blue pencils as well. But the thing is, if for a computer, these two parts are different. So it will count 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what you want to do in this case, for example, is to close the gap here. So you want to merge these two. Also, sometimes you will get noise like this in an image. So you want to get rid of that as well. And some other problems are that you have holes in some image, for example, here, and you want to cover or to close those holes. The other problem that you might have in this situation is to have two objects touching each other. So in this case, for the computer, these two objects will be just one. So image morphology helps you to overcome these problems. For example, here, running the OpenCV example in this image, I can erode or dilate the image, which are the two basic image morphology operations. If I move this to the right, it will erode the image. As you can see here, objects will get smaller and smaller. And if I go to the other way, I'm going to dilate the image, so the objects will be larger and larger. So now you can see the effect of this. We can start filling the holes, merging these two images, these two parts together. And also, if you move to the other way, you can start removing the unwanted noise, and also you can start separating this object. So that's the basic two functionalities of image morphology. But then if you combine them, you can get more functions. For example, the open functionality is first eroding the image and then dilating it. And the close functionality is first dilating the image and then eroding it. So if I move this to the left, I'm closing the image. So you can see that it closes the holes in the images in this part, and it merges these other parts. So the other way around, if you go to the other way, you will close the image. So as you can see, all the noise can be easily removed with this. And you can separate also this. So what I'm doing here is I'm using a structuring element. OpenCV uses 3 of them in this example, and the final shape of the objects that your image has will depend on the shape of your structural element. OpenCV uses, in this case, 3 structural elements that you can choose: a rectangle, a cross, and an ellipse, as you can see here. And depending on which one you use, the final image will look different. For example, if I go here, you can see with the spacebar, you can change the structural element. So you can see that now I'm using the cross structural element. Here is the ellipse, and here's the rectangle. So we'll see the code, but first, what OpenCV does is for eroding, it combines this structural element with the image and gets the minimum between the structural element and the image. So for eroding, it will always get smaller and smaller. And for dilating, it gets the maximum. So it compares the maximum of the structural element and the image. So we always get bigger and bigger. Okay, so let's see the code. In here in the code, the important part is that you find an element shape here. And these numbers are just for knowing if you want to execute an open or close, depending if you're moving to the left or to the right. And here it's depending if you're eroding or dilating, if you're moving to left or to the right. And the farther apart you are from the center, the larger the structuring element will be. And you can see here it's multiplied by 2 and plus 1 because it needs to be an odd number. So that ensures that for any number here, you will get an odd number. And that's it. That's the only thing that you need to know is there's these two functions. Dilate, you just put the source here and where you want to put it, and the structural element, which is a matrix with the shape and the size. And also row, and the other two functions are this one, which is close, and this one, open. That's it. Now you know how to process your images and you understand a little bit more of image morphology.